key was cold in my palm. Not just cool, cold. Like something pulled out of a grave. My stepmother dropped it there on the morning of my 19th birthday. No card, no cake, no happy birthday, Hazel. Just that rusted old key. A one-way bus ticket to a town I'd never heard of. And 5 crumpled $100 bills on the kitchen counter. Your grandfather left you a barn, she said, not looking at me. Out in Millbrook Hollow, Tennessee. The lawyer says it's worthless. There's a buyer willing to take it off your hands for $6,200. Sign the papers. Take the money. Don't come back. That was it. 19 years of life. Reduced to a key, a ticket, $500. I should have signed. I should have disappeared into some city where no one knew my name. But something about that key, it felt heavier than it looked. Like it was holding on to a secret. A secret it had been waiting 19 years to tell me. So I got on that bus. I rode through 3 states. I watched the world get quieter, greener, smaller. And when I finally unlocked the door to that old barn at the edge of nowhere, I found a wooden box hidden in the dark. 84 letters in my mother's handwriting. A bone-white blanket my grandmother had knit before she died. And a truth that would burn a whole town to the ground. This is the story of how the worthless thing saved my life. You are 19 years old. You are standing in a kitchen that has never felt like yours, holding a key that has never felt like yours either. The linoleum floor is cold under your bare feet. The fluorescent light above the stove buzzes. A dog barks somewhere outside. Somewhere closer, your stepmother taps her glossy red fingernails against the granite. Tap, 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 like she's counting down the seconds until you disappear. Happy birthday, Hazel. She doesn't mean it. You know she doesn't mean it, because Marlene Whitmore has not meant a single word she said to you in 8 years. Not since the funeral. Not since your mother's coffin was lowered into the cold November ground and Marlene's hand tightened around your father's like she was claiming territory. Which she was. Which she did. And now here you are, 8 years later, standing in her kitchen on the morning of your 19th birthday. And she is finally finishing what she started. The key sits in your palm. It's heavy. Heavier than something that small should be. Brass, you think. Or maybe iron. Tarnished green at the edges. The kind of key you see in old movies. The kind that opens doors in stories where the heroine finds something she shouldn't. Except you are not the heroine of a story. You are the leftover. Your grandfather left you a barn, Marlene says. Flat. Bored. Out in Tennessee. Place called Millbrook Hollow. You don't say anything. Because you didn't know you had a grandfather. Not really. Not in any way that counted. Caleb Whitmore. That was his name. Your mother said it once when you were 6. Said it the way some women say the names of men who have hurt them. Soft. Careful. Like the word itself might break. He never called. He never visited. He never sent a card. He was a story that ended before it started. The lawyer's name is Margaret Sullivan, Marlene continues. She'll be in touch. There's a buyer. A development company. They're offering $6,200 for the whole property. Take it. Sign the papers. She slides an envelope across the granite. You look at it. Plain. White. The kind of envelope a hospital uses for a bill. Inside, you know without looking, there is a one-way bus ticket and $500 in cash. Because she told you last week. Because Marlene Whitmore is many things but disorganized is not one of them. Marlena, Mem, why didn't he ever come? She finally looks at you. For 1 second. 1 single second. Her face does something. Something almost human. Something that might be guilt or calculation. Or maybe just the way her contour catches the morning light. And then it's gone. Smooth marble again. I would know, sweetheart. Sweetheart? The word lands like a slap. Because she has never called you sweetheart. Not once. Not in 8 years. And the way it leaves her mouth now slick, rehearsed, tells you everything. She has been practicing. She knew this morning was coming. She has been waiting for it. Maybe for years. You pick up the envelope. Bus leaves at 11:15, she says, already turning away. Don't miss it. The locks change tomorrow. And that's it. That's the end. 19 years. A duffel bag in the hallway. A key in your palm. a ticket to nowhere, and a stepmother who couldn't be bothered to lie better. You walk to the front door. You pick up the bag. You don't look back. Because there's nothing to look back at. Because there never was. The bus station smells like diesel and old coffee. You sit on a plastic bench between a sleeping man and a woman feeding crackers to a baby. The baby stares at you, big brown eyes, solemn, like she knows something you don't. You hold the key inside your coat pocket. Your fingers won't let go of it, which is strange. Because it's worthless. Everyone says it's worthless. Marlene says it's worthless. The lawyer says it's worthless. Probably your dead grandfather thought it was worthless too. Otherwise, why leave it to the granddaughter he never met? Otherwise, why wait until he was in the ground to even acknowledge you existed? Except your mother used to talk about him sometimes. At night, when she thought you were asleep, she would sit on the edge of your bed and stroke your hair and whisper things you weren't supposed to hear. My father had hands like steel. He could fix anything. He used to grow blueberries. The biggest blueberries you ever saw. One day, baby. One day I'll take you back there. One day when it's safe. You were too young to ask. Safe from what? Then she got sick. Then she was gone. And the question went with her. The bus pulls in. You get on. You press your forehead against the cold window. The chill shocks something loose in your chest. Some small, hot thing that has been crouching there for years. The bus pulls away. The city shrinks behind you. The skyscrapers. The strip malls. The sad grey apartment building where you spent the last 8 years pretending to be invisible. All of it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's nothing, until you are nothing, until the only thing left in the world is a key in your pocket and a road stretching forward into somewhere you've never been. The phone rings at hour 4. A blocked number. You almost don't answer. Nobody calls you. Nobody has called you in years. But you answer. Hazel Whitmore? The voice is a woman's. Mid-50s, maybe. Low. Warm. In a way that's trying not to be. This is Margaret Sullivan. I'm the attorney handling your grandfather's estate. Okay. I won't keep you long. The offer from Pinewood Development is still active. $6,200. I can have the paperwork drawn up by Friday. Why Friday? A pause. A small one. But you catch it. I just don't want you sitting on something that's losing value every day. I'm on a bus. I'm sorry. To Millbrook Hollow. I want to see it first. The silence this time is longer. Hazel. Yes. That's not necessary. The property is in poor condition. The barn is. I'll call you when I get there. You hang up. You don't know why you said it. You don't know why the key feels warm now. You don't know why your mother's voice is suddenly so loud in your head. One day when it's safe. You watch the world turn green through the window. You watch 5 towns disappear into the rear view. A gas station in West Virginia, where an old man pumps his own fuel and waves at the driver. A diner in Kentucky with a hand-painted sign that says, God loves you and so do we. A town in northern Tennessee that's nothing but a Dollar General and a feed store and a row of houses with American flags on the porches. Each town smaller than the last. Each one quieter. Something shifts inside you. Not hope, but something looser. Something that hasn't had room to breathe in 8 years. Maybe it's the air. The air smells different now. Wet grass, cut hay, something woody and old. It smells like a place that hasn't been paved over. It smells like memory. You don't know whose. The driver calls out the name 3 hours past sundown. Millbrook Hollow. Last stop. You expect a town. What you get is a single street. Brick buildings 2 stories tall. A hardware store with a wooden sign that creaks in the wind. A boarded-up movie theater whose marquee still says Happy Thanksgiving in faded plastic letters from some year you can't begin to guess. A church with a steeple that points at a sky so full of stars you almost forget how to breathe. And one window, glowing yellow, Adiner. You walk toward it because there is nowhere else to walk. The bell over the door rings. The smell hits you first. Coffee, bacon, something sweet baking somewhere in the back. The kind of smell that doesn't exist in cities anymore. The kind of smell that lives in a memory you didn't know you had. There are 4 people inside. 2 old men playing checkers. A trucker reading a newspaper. And behind the register, a woman. Maybe 65. White hair pulled back, apron stained with cherry pie filling, reading glasses on a beaded chain. Hands that have clearly worked 100 years. She looks up when the bell rings. She freezes. The coffee pot starts to tilt in her hand. "Oh," she whispers. "Oh, sweet Lord." The trucker looks up. The old men look up. You look behind you to see who she's looking at. There's no one behind you. "Honey," the woman says, her voice shaking. "Look at me. Just for a second. Look at me." You look. Her eyes fill with tears. "You're Rosalind's girl. Your mother's name. Your mother's name in this woman's mouth. No one has said your mother's name out loud in 8 years. You don't realize you're crying until the woman is around the counter, until she's pulling you into her arms, until the coffee pot is somehow still in her hand and you are 19 years old and you are sobbing into the shoulder of a stranger who smells like flour and warm bread, like somebody's grandmother. Somebody else's, not yours. You never had a grandmother. You never had a single person in your life who hugged you like this. "Oh, baby girl," she whispers. "You came home. You came home." Her name is Opal Hennessy. She sits you down in a booth. She pours you coffee. She brings you a slice of pie before you can even ask. The pie is blueberry. You remember, the biggest blueberries you ever saw. You eat in silence. Opal watches. Every now and then she dabs at her eyes with a napkin and laughs at herself for being foolish. She's not foolish. You can feel it now. Something is happening. The key in your coat pocket feels warm against your hip, like it's listening. You have her smile. Whose? Your grandmother's. Adelaide. Lord, you have her smile exactly. The name lands in you like a stone in a still pond. Adelaide. You didn't even know her name. Your mother had a mother, and you didn't even know her name. She made the best blueberry pie in this county, Opal says. Every Sunday after church, she'd bring me one because I was always too tired to bake on the weekends. Stubborn woman, stubborn as a winter goat. Opal laughs. Then she stops laughing. "I'm sorry, honey. We didn't know. We didn't know if you were alive. After your mama left in 2011, we didn't hear another word. Not one word in 15 years. Your mother left in 2011. You were 4 years old. How old were you when she passed, sweetheart?" 11. Opal nods slowly, like she's been doing math in her head. "And the daddy, stepfather. He died 2 years ago. And the woman who sent you." You look up. "How did you know a woman sent me?" Opal smiles. But it's not a happy smile. "Honey, I've been a waitress for 43 years. I can read a story in a face from across a parking lot." You laugh. It's the first time you've laughed in months. Maybe longer. The sound surprises you. It surprises Opal, too. She reaches across the table and grabs your hand and squeezes so hard you think she might break a finger. "You're home now," she says. "Whatever brought you here, whatever ugly thing pushed you out that door. You're home, Hazel Whitmore. You hear me? You don't know how she knows your name. You never told her your name. She gives you directions. The barn is 2 miles out on Ridge Road, past the church, past where the pavement ends. She offers to drive you. You say no. You don't know why. Maybe because you've been carried your whole life. Carried from foster homes to stepfathers to bedrooms that were never yours. Maybe because this last mile needs to belong to you. Opal walks you to the door. She presses a paper bag into your hand. Warm, heavy. Inside, you'll find later, are 2 slices of blueberry pie, a thermos of coffee, and a note that says, "Call if you need anything, any hour, any reason." Opal. You walk into the night. The stars hurt. The moon is fat and yellow and low over the trees. Crickets scream in the tall grass. Somewhere far away, an owl calls. You walk for 40 minutes. And then, there, set back from the road, half swallowed by trees and tangled vines and tall pale grass. A building, massive. 2 stories of weathered wood that used to be red and has faded to the color of old bone. The roof sags in the middle. One door hangs sideways. The windows are dark. The barn, your inheritance, your worthless inheritance. You stand in the road, and you look at it, and something happens. Something you cannot explain. The wind moves through the trees behind it. The grass bends. And you have the strangest, Most ridiculous feeling, the barn is looking back at you, like it has been waiting, like it knew you were coming. You push through the brush. Thorns catch your jeans. Wild mint crushes under your feet. By the time you reach the main doors, you can barely breathe. The main doors are chained. A new padlock, brass, industrial. Your key is not for this. You walk along the side, push aside the ivy, and there, a smaller door. A man-sized door, half hidden behind a curtain of green, with a keyhole. An old iron-plated keyhole, black with rust. Your hands are shaking. You pull the key out of your pocket. It's warm now. You don't know when it got warm. You slide it into the lock. It doesn't turn. You twist harder. It doesn't turn. You almost laugh. You almost sit down in the dirt and laugh until you cry. Because of course it doesn't turn. You jiggle it. You whisper to it. You ask it nicely. You ask it not so nicely. And then, a grinding sound. Old metal. Long-forgotten gears reluctantly remembering their job. The lock turns. The door groans open into the dark. The air comes out to meet you. Cool, musty. Thick with the smell of sawdust and old oil. And something else. The faintest ghost of lemons. Like someone used to clean here. Like someone used to care. You step inside. Moonlight comes through gaps in the wood. It lays itself in long silver bars across the floor. Dust hangs in the air, like snow that won't fall. You see shapes first. A workbench, long, massive, running the entire length of one wall. Tools hanging from pegs above it. Hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers, each one outlined in dust where it belongs. Shelves, floor to ceiling, lined with mason jars. Hundreds of them, each filled with nuts and bolts and washers, each labeled in a careful spidery handwriting. A V8 engine block hanging from a chain hoist in the center of the room. Greasy, silent, like a sleeping animal. This is not a junk pile. This is not a worthless barn. This is a cathedral. You walk forward. Slowly. Your hand finds the edge of the workbench. The wood is smooth under your fingers, worn dark by decades of use. There are nicks and gouges and oil stains and faint pale rings where coffee cups used to sit. A man stood here. A man worked here. For 40 years a man stood at this bench and made broken things whole. And nobody told you. Nobody ever told you he existed. Your eyes are burning. You keep walking. Past the engine block. Past a stack of old tires. To the back corner, where there is a small partitioned space, like an office, with a desk inside. And a single light bulb, hanging from a cord. You pull the string. The bulb hums on, and the light falls across the desk, and you see it. A picture frame, sitting in the center of the desk like an altar. You pick it up. It's a Polaroid, faded by sun, the colors washed pale. There's a man in the photograph, tall, lean, white hair, a face like weathered stone. He's wearing a denim shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He's smiling. There's a woman next to him, smaller, round-faced, grey hair pinned up. She's holding a pie. There's another woman, younger, with a smile you would know anywhere. A smile you have seen in 3 photographs and 1 funeral program. A smile you have been carrying inside your chest for 8 years like a stone. Your mother. Your mother is in the photograph. Your mother is laughing. And the man is holding a little girl, dark curly hair, a chocolate-smeared mouth, a striped shirt, bare feet. The little girl is reaching up to touch his face. The little girl is you. You are 3 years old. You are in his arms. You have been here before. The frame slips out of your fingers. It hits the desk. The glass cracks. You drop into the chair. You put your face in your hands. You do not cry. Because there is no word for what is happening in your chest. There is no word for the thing that is breaking inside you. The thing that has been broken inside you for 19 years, and is breaking again now in a different direction. You were not abandoned. You were here. You were held. You were loved. Somebody loved you. Somebody loved you and somebody took you away. And nobody, in 19 years, nobody ever told you. You don't know how long you sit there. Eventually you wipe your face with your sleeve. Eventually you look down at the desk. And that's when you see it. A footlocker, tucked under the desk, dark green, military style, heavy, 2 thick hasps, 2 small, sturdy padlocks, and on top, a single, white envelope, with 1 word written on it, in a spidery, careful old man's handwriting. Hazel, your name in your grandfather's hand. He knew you would come. He has been waiting 19 years. You reach for the envelope. Your hand shakes so badly you can barely hold it. Outside the barn, the wind picks up. Somewhere far away, a dog barks. Somewhere closer, the crickets have gone suddenly silent. You don't notice, because your fingers are sliding under the seal, because the envelope is opening, because the first line, my dear Hazel, if you are reading this, then I am gone, and it is finally safe to tell you the truth. Your mother did not die of cancer. Your mother died of what they buried under this town, and I have been waiting 19 years to ask you for your help. The light flickers, once, twice, and the barn holds its breath around you, and so do you. You read the letter twice. The first time your eyes won't focus. The words swim. The handwriting tilts. You have to keep going back to the beginning, because nothing is landing right. The second time you read it slowly, the way a person reads a verdict. Your grandfather's name was Caleb Whitmore, born 1949, died June 3rd, 2024, and no, the death certificate is not telling the truth. He writes the way he must have spoken, plain, careful, like a man choosing his nails before he hammers them. He is sorry. He says it twice. He never stopped thinking about you. He says staying away was the hardest thing he ever did. And then he tells you why. In 1998, a company called Pinewood Development Group bought 68 acres east of Millbrook Hollow. They called it the Cedar Ridge Project. They promised a manufacturing facility. They got the permits. They got the tax breaks. They hired 3 local men to clear the trees. What they actually did was bury barrels. Hundreds of them. Steel drums, sealed with red tape that turned black after the first winter. Filled with 2 chemicals whose names your grandfather writes out in capital letters because he wants you to remember them. Trichloroethylene, tetrachloroethylene. He writes them again on the next line. Smaller, TCE and PCE. Industrial solvents, linked to lung cancer, liver cancer, leukemia, miscarriage. You stop reading. You read the words again. Lung cancer. Your grandmother died of lung cancer. Opal said it tonight. Miscarriage. Your mother lost a baby. You were 7. You remember the empty crib in the spare room. You remember her crying in the bathroom for a week. You remember nobody using the word out loud, but somehow you knew. Children always know. You put the letter down. You stand up. You walk the 4 short steps from one wall of the little office to the other. You walk them again. Your sneakers make no sound on the wooden floor. Because if what this letter says is true, because if your grandmother died of poisoned water, because if your mother was raised on that water, because if you were drinking it the summer you were 3 years old, the summer in the photograph, then something is sitting inside you right now, something you cannot see, something that has been sitting inside you for 16 years. You sit back down. You keep reading. Your grandfather found out in 2011. He was a mechanic, not a chemist. He had a high school diploma and 40 years of fixing engines and a habit of paying attention. He noticed the well started tasting metallic. He noticed the cattle next door losing weight. He noticed the doctor at the county hospital seeing the same 3 diseases over and over in patients under 50. He noticed your grandmother could not stop coughing, so he started writing things down. A yellow legal pad, a blue pen, a handwriting that slanted slightly to the right. By April, he had filled 6 notebooks. By May, he had taken samples to a private lab in Knoxville. By June, he had the results. By July, your grandmother was in the ground. She died on a Tuesday, he writes. And on Wednesday, I drove to Pinewood's offices in Nashville. I sat in their lobby for 9 hours until a man finally agreed to see me. His name was Gerald Thornton, 42 years old, blue suit, a wife, 2 daughters, a picture of a golden retriever on his desk. He listened to your grandfather for 11 minutes. Then he picked up his desk phone and called someone he did not name. He spoke for 2 minutes. Then he hung up. Then he turned back and said this: "I'm sure you understand, Mr. Whitmore. We will look into your concerns. In the meantime, I'm asking you, personally, to go home, to grieve your wife, and to stop talking about things you do not understand." Your grandfather went home. He kept talking. For 3 weeks he wrote letters. To the county, to the state, to a senator, to a newspaper. Nobody answered. Until one night, in early August, he was on his porch, drinking coffee. Her car in the gravel. A stranger. A manila folder. The stranger did not introduce himself. He walked up. He handed your grandfather the folder. He said one sentence: "You have a daughter. You have a granddaughter. Choose." Then he walked back to his car and drove away. Your grandfather opened the folder. Photographs. Your mother getting groceries. Your mother walking out of her doctor's office. You, 3 years old, playing in a sandbox at the daycare on Elm Street. The photographs had timestamps. The timestamps were that morning. You stop reading. You stare at the wall. You stare at it until the grain becomes a face. Until the face becomes your mother's face. Until your mother's face becomes the face of every woman in every supermarket aisle who ever turned her head sharply at the sound of a stranger's footstep. That was her. For the rest of her life, you always wondered why she never sat with her back to a door. Why she made you memorize 3 different phone numbers by the time you were 5. Why she got so quiet sometimes when a man you didn't know walked into a room. Now you know. She knew. She knew somebody had taken her picture coming out of her doctor's office. She knew somebody had taken yours. And she carried that, alone, for 7 more years. Until the cancer, she didn't know she had finished what the men in suits had started. Your grandfather stayed. He stayed in the barn. He stayed in the town. Because if he left, the evidence would be destroyed. Because someone had to keep the proof alive, even if it meant living alone for 13 years. He hired a geologist in 2014. He paid with the money he had saved for retirement. The geologist confirmed everything. He took the report to the state, to the county, to a journalist at a regional paper. Nothing happened. Nothing. Ewa. Happened. The last line of the letter is the one you will remember for the rest of your life. "I left you the barn because I left you the truth. The truth is heavier than the building. You will know what to do. If you do not know, ask the old women. They have been keeping the count. All my love, for all the years I could not say it." Your grandfather, Caleb. You sit at the desk until the light burns out. When you finally stand up, your back is stiff and your eyes hurt, and the sky outside has turned the gray color that comes just before dawn. You have not slept. You will not sleep. You walk out into the wet morning grass. You stand there. You look at the barn, at the trees, at the road. You think about Marlene. You think about Opal. You think about a 3-year-old girl in a striped shirt being held by a man with white hair. You make a decision. You don't say it out loud, but you make it in the place inside your chest where decisions like this get made. The place that has been silent for 19 years. You are not selling. You are staying. You walk back to town. By the time you reach the diner, there are pickup trucks in the parking lot, and the smell of bacon is thick in the air. Opal sees you through the window. She comes outside. She doesn't ask. She just looks at your face, at your eyes, at the bag still slung over your shoulder. She nods once. You stay in. Yes. Good. She pours you coffee. She slides a plate of eggs and grits in front of you. When you are finished, she sits across from you and folds her hands. You met him yet? Met who? Earl Patterson. Hardware store. Who's your granddaddy's best friend? You shake your head. You will today, she says. She slides a piece of paper across the table. A phone number. A name. Underneath, in Opal's loopy handwriting, 3 words. She remembers everything. Who is this? Beatrice Holloway, B. 78 years old. Was the only nurse in this town from 1985 to 2008. Lives 2 doors down from your barn. She has been keeping records for 23 years. You take the paper. You put it in your pocket next to your grandfather's key. You meet B at 3 o'clock that afternoon. Her house is small, white. A porch with a glider and 3 potted geraniums and a wreath made of pine cones. She opens the door before you knock. Small, bird-like, snow-white hair, sharp blue eyes that miss nothing, a cardigan the color of unripe peaches. She looks at you for 10 full seconds. Then she says, "Took you long enough." She steps aside. You go in. The house is full of plants, spider plants, African violets, a jade tree as tall as you are. The air smells like lavender and old paper. B walks you through to a back room with a window that looks out across the field. Across the field you can see the barn. She has been watching it for 13 years. She gestures to a chair. You sit. There is a wooden box on the table, lacquered cherry, a brass latch shaped like a leaf. Your granddaddy and me, we had a deal. You hearin' me? Yes, he said. If anything ever happened, if he didn't show up for our Saturday coffee one week, I was to wait 3 months. Then I was to start watching for you. Watching for me. Yes, Mom. She reaches across. She takes your hand. Her grip is small and dry and surprisingly strong. I lost 2 husbands and a son in this town, honey. The cancer took all 3 of them. I've been wanting somebody to come ask me the right questions for 30 years. And here you are, sitting in my chair, looking just like your mama. She opens the box. Inside are notebooks. Black, cloth-bound, composition, some big, some small, all of them old. 23 of them. 1 for each year, between 1985 and 2008. She lays them out in chronological order. She has marked them. Tabs, sticky notes, pencil now faded to ghost. She shows you the first one. A woman, 31 years old, 2 children, lung cancer, never smoked. A man, 38, liver cancer, drank the well water for 15 years. A child, 7 years old, leukemia. She turns the page. A name in a different ink, underlined twice. You read it out loud without meaning to. Adelaide Whitmore. You look up. B is looking at you. Her eyes are dry. But there is something in her face more terrible than crying. The weight of having known, of having watched, of having begged the world to listen for 40 years, while the world kept eating its breakfast and pretending it could not hear. Your grandmother, 10 months from diagnosis. I didn't know her. She knew you. She knit you a blanket. White wool, yellow trim. Right there on the porch, you can see through that window. She finished it 3 weeks before she died. Your mama took it home in 2011 along with you. You don't have that blanket. Everything from before 2011 was thrown out by Marlene the year she married your stepfather. She said it was clutter. You are crying. B is too. There's more, baby. Lots more. I got names going back to 1989. I got dates, addresses, wells, everything anybody would ever need to prove what's been happening in this town. Then why, you whisper, why didn't anyone listen? B shrugs. Because I'm a 78-year-old widow in a cardigan, sweetheart. The world don't listen to 78-year-old widows in cardigans. The world only listens to lawyers and reporters, and pretty young girls who got a story to tell. She closes the box. You ready to be the pretty young girl with the story to tell, Hazel Whitmore? You inhale, you exhale. Yes. Margaret Sullivan arrives the next morning. She drives a sensible grey sedan. A dark blue suit, slightly wrinkled, hair pulled back. 55 years old, furious. She does not say hello. I told you not to go anywhere. I went somewhere. I see that. I have something to show you. You walk her to the office. You hand her the letter. You hand her B's notebooks. You hand her the timeline you and B spent 6 hours building yesterday. Margaret reads. She reads for 45 minutes without speaking. You stand by the window. A hawk circles over the field. You wait. When she finally puts the letter down, she is sitting very still. Her hands are folded. Her face is wet. You did not see her start crying. She has been crying silently the whole time. The way a woman cries when she has been trained her whole life not to cry where anyone can see. She wipes her face with the back of her hand. Hazel. Yes, I need to tell you something. All right. I was born here. You did not expect that. I was born in Millbrook Hollow in 1971. My mother was the postmistress. My father drank. All right. Your mother was my best friend. The world stops. I'm sorry? Rosalind. We were in kindergarten together. We were in 10th grade together. We were each other's bridesmaid in our minds for 15 years before anybody ever proposed to either of us. She is shaking now. In 2011, she called me. On a Tuesday afternoon. She said, "Maggie, I have to leave. I can't tell you why. I love you. Take care of my daddy if you can." And she hung up, and I never saw her again. Maggie. I went to law school because of her, Hazel. I knew something had happened to my best friend in this town, and nobody would tell me what. I came back here as soon as I passed the bar. I have been waiting 15 years for an answer. Then why didn't you recognize my name? You don't have her last name, Hazel. You have your stepfather's. The file came across my desk as Hazel Bennett. The Whitmore property was just a piece of land attached to a forgotten estate. I didn't put it together until I saw you on the bus station camera last week. And by then I was already trying to talk you out of coming. Why? She looks at you. Because I was afraid of what you would find. She covers her face. And then her daughter walked into my life. And it's a property dispute. A worthless barn. A $6,000 offer. And I almost just sent the papers. You sit down on the floor of the office. Because your legs won't hold you anymore. Maggie. Your mother used to mention a Maggie sometimes. When she was sick at the end. When she was talking in her sleep. Tell Maggie. Tell Maggie I'm sorry. You always thought Maggie was a dog. A dog from your mother's childhood. You always thought she meant a dog. You and Maggie work until midnight. You eat sandwiches on the workbench. You drink coffee opal scent. You spread the notebooks across the wood and tag every page that connects a death to an address that connects to a well that connects to the Cedar Ridge site. By midnight, Maggie has counted 43 deaths. In a town of 2,100. She sits back. She rubs her eyes. Hazel. Yes, this is bigger than I thought. I know. This is going to be ugly. They are going to come for you. They will threaten you. They will offer you money. Eventually, they will offer you something other than money. Do you understand? Yes. And you still want to do this? Yes. She nods. She picks up her coat. She walks to the door. She turns around. You look just like her, she says, standing in this barn. You look just exactly like your mother. She walks out. He comes 3 days later. You are at the workbench. Maggie is back at her office. Bea is taking her afternoon nap. Earl Patterson dropped off some light bulbs this morning and stayed for 40 minutes asking about your grandfather. He told you stories. He said your grandfather used to make him laugh so hard he'd snort coffee through his nose. He said your grandfather was the best man he ever knew. You believed him. You wanted to believe him. You hear the car before you see it. A long black sedan, tinted windows, the kind of car nobody drives in Millbrook Hollow. A man gets out, late 50s, silver hair, charcoal suit, camel coat, leather folio in his hand, a smile that does not reach his eyes. You know who he is before he opens his mouth. He walks right in, like he owns the place. He runs his hand along the workbench. He picks up a wrench and turns it over and sets it back down in the wrong place. That bothers you more than it should. Hazel Whitmore. Mr. Thornton, you know who I am. I know who you are. Then this will be easier. He opens the folio. He pulls out a check, made out to you. The amount has a lot of zeros. $180,000, wired to any account. All you have to do is sign. You don't look at the check. You look at him. Why are you here, Mr. Thornton? To make you a generous offer. No. You're here because you're scared. He laughs. A controlled laugh. The laugh of a man who has been laughing in boardrooms for 40 years to make other men feel small. Then, he stops laughing. He steps closer. Your grandfather, he says quietly, went very suddenly. Heart attack. At his age. With his blood pressure. Of course. You hold your ground. At his age. Of course. Mr. Thornton. Yes. Get out of my barn. He looks at you for a long second. Then he picks up his folio. He walks to the door. He turns around. Hazel, I want you to think very carefully about what kind of inheritance you actually want to leave behind. He walks out. The black car drives away. You stand in the middle of the barn with your hands shaking and your heart hammering and your grandfather's wrench heavy in your fingers because you don't even remember picking it up. You put the wrench back exactly where it belongs. You go find Bea. She is on her porch, sipping tea. You tell her about Thornton. You tell her about at his age, with his blood pressure. Of course. Bea listens. She sets down her teacup. I have been waiting 2 years to tell somebody this. Tell me. The night your granddaddy passed. Yes, I couldn't sleep. I never sleep good in summer. I was on this very porch, around 2 a.m. Yes, I saw a car, sedan, dark, new, nobody's I recognized. Rolled up to your barn at 2:15, sat there for 19 minutes. Then rolled out again. No headlights, just like it came. Bea, I told the sheriff. And the sheriff was Marvin Polk. Marvin Polk retired in October. Marvin Polk drove a brand new bass boat for 15 years on a county salary. Marvin Polk's daughter went to private school in Knoxville on Pinewood's dime. So he told me I was an old woman who imagined things in the dark. Told me your granddaddy had a bad heart. Told me to mind my business or he'd have me committed. She picks up her teacup. Your granddaddy did not have a bad heart, Hazel. I checked his vitals every Tuesday for 15 years. He had a heart like a horse. She sets the cup down. Somebody killed your grandfather, baby. Somebody who knew when he'd be alone. Somebody who knew the back road to that barn. I have been sitting on this porch for 2 years waiting for somebody to come ask me the right questions. You stare across the field. You think about Gerald Thornton's smile. You think about a stranger who once handed your grandfather a manila folder. You think about your mother whispering in her sleep, tell Maggie I'm sorry. You think about how many old women have been carrying this town's secrets in their kitchens and on their porches and in their lacquered cherry boxes for 40 years. You think about how the world ignored them. You think about how the world is about to stop ignoring them. That night, you can't sleep. You sit on the cot in the office. You have set up a lamp, a heater, a folding chair. The desk is yours now. You are halfway through a cup of tea when you hear it. A knock at the small door. Soft, almost shy. A polite Tennessee knock at almost 10 o'clock at night. You freeze. You think about Thornton. You pick up the wrench from the workbench. You walk to the door. Who is it? Earl, honey. Earl Patterson. Brought you some pie. You exhale. You open the door. Big man. 70. Plaid shirt. Suspenders. White mustache. Holding a Pyrex dish wrapped in a checkered towel. He looks tired. More tired than a man should look at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Apple. My wife made it before Before. I just thought you might want some. You let him in. He sits on the folding chair. You sit on the cot. I knew your granddaddy 52 years. Yes, sir. He was my best friend in this world. Yes, sir. His hands shake. He puts them on his knees. Hazel, I have to ask you something. All right. Do you have his notebooks? Anywhere in this barn? You hesitate. Just for a second. The shortest second in the world. But Earl sees it. You see him see it. His eyes flick down, then back up, and something inside his face goes a little gray. It's a hot night, you say. I'll get us some water. Oh, that'd be lovely, honey. You stand up. You walk out. You walk to the workbench area where you have left a pitcher. You do not pour the water. You listen. Behind you in the office, a chair scrapes. Soft. The sound of a man trying not to be heard. A hand brushing the underside of the desk. The smallest click. The sound a magnet makes when it attaches to metal. You stand with a pitcher in your hand. You do not move. You do not breathe. And across the field, through the window of her back room, a 78-year-old woman in a cardigan sits in the dark, binoculars in her lap. She sees Earl Patterson lean down under your grandfather's desk. She sees his hand come up empty. She sees him sit back down in the folding chair like nothing happened. She picks up her phone. She dials Maggie Sullivan. In the workbench area of the barn, you stand alone with a pitcher of water, tears running down your face. Because Earl Patterson was your grandfather's best friend. And Earl Patterson just bugged your grandfather's desk, and you do not understand it yet. But outside, in her dark back room, Bea opens her notebook. She starts a new page. At the top, she writes one word. War. You don't sleep. You sit on the cot. You wait for sunrise. You listen to the wind in the rafters. At 5:15, the small door creaks open. You almost scream. It's Maggie. A thermos in one hand, a folder in the other. Her hair is unbrushed. She is wearing the same suit as yesterday. She slept in her car. B called me. I know. We have a problem. I know. Tell me what you heard last night. You tell her about the pie, about the question, about the click of the magnet. Maggie listens. She does not write anything down. When you finish, she pours coffee. She sits on the folding chair. Hazel. Yes. I need you to do something hard. All right. I need you not to confront him yet. Maggie, listen to me. Please. You listen. Oh, Patterson is not the enemy. He broke my disc. Yes. He betrayed my grandfather. Yes. He is the enemy. No, Maggie says. He is not. She sips her coffee. I drove home last night. I pulled every record I could find on Earl Patterson. Tax records, property records, medical billing records I am not technically supposed to have. And I want to tell you what I found. And I want you to sit very still. And I want you to listen. You listen. Earl Patterson has a son. His name is Nicholas. He is 34 years old. In 1999, Nicholas was 7. In 1999, Nicholas was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. That same year, a man in a charcoal suit walked into Earl Patterson's hardware store and offered him a deal. Pinewood would pay every penny of Nicholas's treatment. Forever. As many rounds, as many specialists, as many years. In exchange, Earl would tell Pinewood when anyone in town started asking questions. He would tell them which farmers got curious about their wells, which mothers brought up the cancer rate at PTA meetings, when Beatrice Holloway came in to buy notebooks, and in 2011, when Caleb Whitmore started writing letters to the state, Earl told them about that too. He did not know they would threaten your mother. He did not know they would take pictures of you in a sandbox. He only knew that his son was alive, and the bills got paid. His son just turned 34. His son is in remission. His son is alive because the company that poisoned him is also the company that paid to cure him. You stare at Maggie. You stare at her for a long time. He didn't know. He didn't know what they were going to do, Maggie says. He knew enough. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but he didn't know about your mother. He didn't know about the photographs, and he sure as hell did not know they killed your grandfather. How do you know? Because he showed up at the barn last night. What? Hazel. If Earl Patterson didn't have a conscience, he would not have come. He has been telling Pinewood for 2 years that the evidence is still safe. He's been telling them the notebooks are still in that barn, untouched. Because he knows the second they think it's not safe, they will come for it. And they will not come gently. He has been keeping you alive, Hazel, the only way he knows how, from the wrong side of the line. You sit with that. For a long time, outside the sun is coming up, pink, pale, the kind of morning your grandmother used to bake in. What do? You go talk to him. You walk to the hardware store at 9 in the morning. Earl is sorting bolts into bins. He looks up. He sees you. He freezes. The bolt in his hand drops. It rolls across the counter. It falls onto the wooden floor. The sound is loud in the empty store. He doesn't pick it up. You walk to the counter. Earl, Hazel, I know. He doesn't ask what. He doesn't pretend. His shoulders just drop. Half an inch. The way the shoulders of a man drop when he has been holding something up for 27 years, and finally somebody comes along and says you can put it down now. His eyes fill. Honey, sit down with me, Earl. He flips the sign from open to closed. He turns the lock. He sits in the chair by the wood stove. For a long minute he doesn't speak. He just looks at his hands. Big, working hands. Hands that have built shelves and fixed lawnmowers and held a 7-year-old boy through 19 rounds of chemotherapy. When he speaks, his voice is thick. I was going to tell him. Tell who? Caleb. I was going to tell Caleb. Nick was almost done with treatment. He was healthy. I was going to go to your granddaddy, and I was going to help him take Pinewood down with my own 2 hands. Why didn't you? Because they killed him. You go still. Earl. They killed him, Hazel. They killed him a week before I was going to tell him. A man named Wendell Pike, Pinewood's fixer. He showed up at my store the day before your granddaddy died. He told me my services were no longer optional. He told me Nick's next scan was scheduled in 3 weeks, and it would be a real shame if his next round of treatment didn't get authorized. Earl, I have been carrying this for 2 years. He puts his hands over his face. His shoulders shake, the way a 70-year-old man cries when he has finally been given permission to. You walk around the wood stove. You crouch down in front of him. You put your hand on his knee. Earl, yes, I forgive you. He breaks. He just breaks. You hold his hand while he cries. You hold this old man's hand in a hardware store that smells like sawdust and lamp oil, while the early morning light comes through the windows in long gold bars. You hold his hand the way nobody held your grandfather's hand at the end. When he can speak again, he looks up. Hazel, I have files. What? In my house. Behind a panel in the closet. Every report, I helped them falsify. Every check stub. Every letter. Every name they made me feed them. He grips your wrist. It's enough to put Gerald Thornton in prison for the rest of his life. It's enough to take Pinewood down to the studs. I have been waiting for somebody to come ask me for it. Oh, yes. Get me the files. He gives you everything that afternoon. 3 filing boxes. Sealed. Heavy. Smelling faintly of cedar. Maggie hauls them into her car. She drives straight back to her office. She does not eat. She does not sleep. She works for 36 hours. You stay at the barn. B sits with you. Opal sends food. The 3 of you wait for the phone to ring. It rings at 1 in the morning. Hazel. Yes. It's bigger than we thought. Tell me. Gerald Thornton is not the head of Pinewood. What? He's a figurehead. He's been the public face for 15 years. He doesn't make the decisions. He doesn't sign the orders. Then who? A poser. A long one. The chairman of the board of Pinewood Development Group is a man named Lawrence Hartwell. All right. Hazel. Yes. His daughter. What? His daughter. You sit very still. Maggie. Yes. Tell me his daughter's name. Marlene. Marlene Hartwell. She changed her last name to Whitmore in 2014 when she married your stepfather. The phone almost slips out of your hand. Marlene. Your stepmother. The woman who tapped her red fingernails on the granite countertop and called you sweetheart for the first and last time on the morning of your 19th birthday. Marlene was placed in your life. Marlene was the daughter of the man who killed your grandmother. You drop the phone. B picks it up. We got her. She'll call you back. B sits next to you. She puts her arms around you. You do not cry. You sit because the world has stopped turning and you are afraid that if you move, it will start again. And you do not know if you can survive the next rotation. The complaint is filed on a Thursday. Maggie holds the press conference on the courthouse steps Friday at 10. You stand next to her. You wear a navy dress that Opal pressed for you the night before. Around your shoulders, you wear your grandmother's white and yellow blanket, because B found it in the back of your grandfather's footlocker. She put it in your hands the night before with shaking hands and said she was wearing this when she finished it. Now you wear it. There are 17 reporters, 3 television cameras, 42 people from Millbrook Hollow. Maggie speaks first. She lays out the timeline. She names TCE and PCE. She names the Cedar Ridge site. She names Gerald Thornton. She names Lawrence Hartwell. She names 43 Millbrook Hollow residents who died over 26 years from cancers consistent with chemical exposure. She holds up B's notebooks, one by one. She names the years. The cameras roll. Then she steps aside. She gives the microphone to you. You step up. You are 19 years old. You are wearing your grandmother's blanket. You unfold a single piece of paper. Your grandfather's last letter. You read the part where he says, I left you the barn because I left you the truth. You read the part where he says the truth is heavier than the building. You read the part where he says you will know what to do. You fold the letter back up. You look into the cameras. You say 4 sentences. My grandmother's name was Adelaide. My mother's name was Rosalind. My grandfather's name was Caleb. They tried to make sure I would never know. You step away from the microphone. You walk back to where Opal and Bea are standing on the steps. Opal is openly weeping. Bea squeezes your hand so tight, you almost lose feeling in your fingers. By Friday night, the story is on national news. By Saturday morning, Pinewood Development Group has lost 41% of its stock value. By Sunday, Lawrence Hardwell has been indicted on 6 counts of conspiracy and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. By Monday, Gerald Thornton is in handcuffs. By Tuesday, a man named Wendell Pike is found in a motel room outside Knoxville with a confession on the desk, and a story to tell that involves the murder of a 65-year-old mechanic in his own barn at 2:15 in the morning of June 3, 2024. Pinewood settles before the civil suit goes to trial. $18 million to the town. A monitoring fund for groundwater testing for 50 years. A permanent injunction. Pinewood Development Group is dissolved. You are awarded $850,000 personally. You do not feel triumphant. You sit on the cot in your grandfather's office. You hold the check in your hand. You think about how it cannot buy back a single Tuesday in 2010 when you were 3 years old, and a man in a denim shirt taught you how to hold a hammer. You put the check in the drawer. You don't look at it again for a month. Marlene comes in April. You don't expect her. You are in the garden behind the barn. Bea's garden. You have spent the spring learning what your grandmother used to grow. Lavender, lemon balm, echinacea, bee balm. You are kneeling in the dirt, weeding around the rosemary. You hear tires on the gravel. You look up, a car you do not recognize. A woman gets out. It takes you a long second to see her, because she is not the woman you remember. Her hair is different, shorter, grayer. The clothes are softer. No more silk blouses, no more nails. She wears a plain dark coat and flat shoes. She is holding a wooden box. She walks halfway across the field. She stops. You stand. You wipe the dirt off your hands. You walk to meet her. You stop 10 feet away. You look at this small gray-haired woman holding a wooden box. She looks afraid. Marlene has never looked afraid in her life. Until today. Hazel, Marlene, I'm not here for forgiveness. All right. I'm not here to ask for anything. All right. I'm here because I made a promise. She holds out the box. You don't move. She steps forward. She sets the box down in the grass between you. She steps back. Your mother gave me this. You stare at her. What? Your mother gave me this in 2016, 2 years before she died. She knew she was dying. She had known since 2011. She knew it was the chemicals. She knew she didn't have time. Marlene, she asked me to keep this. She asked me to give it to you on the day you walked out of my house for the last time. You knew. Yes, you knew the whole time. Yes, you don't speak. You can't. I knew when I married your stepfather. My father sent me. He needed eyes on Caleb Whitmore's granddaughter. He needed to know if you were ever going to find out. Marlene, I went. And I met your mother. You stop breathing. What? Hazel, listen to me. I met your mother in 2013. Before I married your stepfather, I was sent to befriend her, to gather information. I introduced myself as a friend of a friend. I took her to lunch. I bought her flowers when she was admitted for her first round of chemo. She is shaking. And she knew, Hazel. She knew the whole time who I was. She had known my face for 2 years. She let me come to lunch anyway. Why? Because she was dying. Because she had no one. Because she had no family left on her side. And a husband who was too broken by her sickness to be of any use. Because she needed someone to make sure her daughter was kept alive after she was gone. Marlene, she made me promise, on her last day, she made me promise 3 things. What? 1, to keep my father from hurting you. 2, to make sure you got the barn the day you turned 19. 3, to give you this box on the day you walked out my door. You stare at the box. And the cruelty, you whisper. What? For 8 years. The cruelty. She looks at you. Quiet tears. My father was watching us. He had me in that house to watch you. He told me on the day I moved in, if I had been kind to you, if I had been a mother to you, if I had let you become a daughter to me, He would have taken you out of my care and put you somewhere I couldn't reach you. She wipes her face. Every cruel thing I did to you was a performance, Hazel. I am not asking you to forgive that. I am not asking you to understand it. I am telling you because your mother told me that one day you would deserve to know. And after my stepfather died, you could have told me then. No, because by then my father was already suspicious of Caleb. He was already planning. If I had told you anything, you would have been the next photograph in a manila folder. I waited until the day the will required me to give you the key. I gave it to you in the only way I could safely give it, with cruelty, so my father would believe I had finally cut you loose. You look at the box. You look at her. You sit down on the grass. You sit down hard. She does not move. After a long time, you reach out. You pull the box toward you. You open the latch. Inside, letters, stacks of them, tied with a faded blue ribbon. Your mother's handwriting. You count them later. 84. One for every month between when you were 4 years old and when she died. She wrote you a letter every single month for 7 years. You pull out the top one. You unfold it. The first line says, Hazel, my sweet girl, you are 4 years old today, and you are sleeping in the next room, and I am sitting at the kitchen table writing this letter for the woman you will one day be. You read 3 lines. You put the letter back, because you cannot read any more right now. You look up at Marlene. She is waiting, not for forgiveness. She told you not for forgiveness. She told you she came because she promised, because her promise was the last thing she ever truly owed somebody, and she finally got to keep it. You stand. You walk to her. You stop in front of her. You do not hug her. You do not take her hand. You do not smile. You look at her. You say one sentence. My mother was a better judge of character than I thought. She nods. She nods, and she nods. She turns. She walks back to her car. She gets in. She drives away. You spend the rest of the spring reading the letters. 1 a week. You don't rush. You sit in your grandfather's office and you light a candle and you read 1 letter and you cry and you laugh and you put it away and you wait until the next week. Your mother writes about everything. She writes about how you used to put your fingers in your ears when you got shy, how you sang the wrong words to the alphabet song until you were 6, how you used to wake her up at 5 a.m. on Saturday mornings and demand pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. She writes about her own mother, Adelaide, about the blueberry pies and the woolen blankets and the way Adelaide used to hum hymns under her breath while she washed dishes. She writes about her father, Caleb, about his hands, about his quiet, about the way he loved her so much he had to send her away to keep her alive. The last letter is dated 3 weeks before she died. The last letter is 1 paragraph long. My darling, the world is about to try very hard to tell you that you are worthless. Don't believe it. You are the granddaughter of Adelaide Whitmore and the daughter of Rosalind Whitmore, and you come from a line of women who have always known how to fight. You will know what to do when the time comes. You will know who to trust. You will know which old women have been keeping the count. Listen to them, honor them, love them like they are me, because in a way they will be. Light the lamp, sweet girl. Light it for the lost ones. They are still trying to find their way home. You fold the letter. You look around the barn. You light a lamp. The grand opening is on a Saturday in June. The whole town comes. You painted the sign yourself. With Earl's help. He moves slower now. But he is here. He hung the sign on the front of the barn with his own 2 hands. Adelaide's House, a community center for the people of Millbrook Hollow, founded 2027. There are flowers in the windows, tables in the field, a banner from the loft that Bee quilted by hand. Opal is running the kitchen. She has trained 3 girls from town. They will run a free breakfast program for any kid who walks in hungry. Bee has set up a classroom in the back corner. She is teaching herbal medicine to a class of 14 girls and 3 boys. They are taking notes. Earl has set up a workshop at the workbench. He is teaching beginner engine repair. The first student is the 12-year-old daughter of a single mother who works at the gas station on Main Street. She is paying attention to every word, like her life depends on it. It might, one day. Maggie has an office on the 2nd floor. She has reduced her city practice to 2 days a week. The other 3 days she is here. Free legal advice to anyone who walks in. She is currently helping 7 women in town file civil cases against employers who fired them when they got sick from the wells. The wells are clean now. They have been clean for 6 months. You stand on the porch of the barn. You watch your people. B. Showing a girl how to identify peppermint by the stem. Opal. Handing out plates of food. O. With grease on his hands and a smile you have never seen before on his face. Maggie. Laughing at something a child has just told her. You think about a 19-year-old girl who got off a bus in this town a year ago. You think about all the old women. The kind, fierce, patient, watching old women who held this town together for 40 years while the world refused to see them. You think about Adelaide, who knit you a blanket. You think about Rosalind, who wrote you 84 letters. You think about Beatrice, who kept the count. You think about Opal, who recognized you across a diner. You think about Margaret, who never stopped looking for her best friend. You think about every woman over 60 who has ever been told her time was over, who has ever been told her job was done, who has ever been handed a worthless inheritance and told to be grateful. You touch the doorframe of the barn. You whisper, "Thank you, Grandpa. I figured out what to do." You walk inside. The lamp on the porch glows. It will glow every night. For the lost ones. For the daughters who haven't found their way home yet. For the granddaughters who will. Light the lamp. Light it. And keep it lit. The end.